Right, gang. Yeah, sorry, I forgot QA to put a community post up. I haven't done it for a while. Oh, the mic's really loud. What the hell's going on? Oh, that's weird. Um, Not even 8, and it's pitch black. Yeah, it's that it's unfortunately it's the bad time of year. Or we're heading towards the bad time of year where it's just gonna be dark all the time. So yeah, no. What can you do in it? Yeah, I just seeing more stuff from the Dragon Ball game come out, and I'm so excited for the game. Like, I think this is the thing I've been excited since last year, guys. Crazy, crazy. But ugh, ugh, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on here. Do you know what, we've got a fresh one for the batch. Where is it? There it is. Sorry, I'm just kind of flicking through stuff. It's mad. This week's been crazy. Honestly, like, I don't. What Labour are doing, man, are just. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. The Mail called Starmer's wife Victoria Sponge. Mad. Mad. I don't even rate the Daily Mail, but I'll give them that one. That one. That's a big insult. I respect that. That's about the only time. That's probably one of the rare times I'll say that I'll put some respect on the Daily Mail's name. I mean, to be fair, they called Johnson's wife what's it called, Carrie Antoinette or something like that. Probably best not to back newspapers who go after people's wives in it. But so Sleazealot here is it's just honestly, it's like Boris Johnson all over again. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know, the only difference is now the only thing that's really changed is the people defending him and the people attacking him. You know, unfortunately, it's a lot of this.
My team, enemy team.
It's my team versus the enemy team, I'm afraid. Ugh, I don't. What am I to make of this, guys? Honestly, like, it's wild. All of this, these tabs are just on this current scandal. I don't even know. It's gonna be so much fun editing this one massive video, but we move on it. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, feel free to throw them in chat. But you know, I'm more than ready to go for topics. I was going to stream tomorrow, but you know, I'll get it out of the way today, and then I can just get on with regular content. So yeah, but I don't know, gang. I don't know what to make of this lot, to be honest. Hi, McGuinness. That is the surname of my second favourite Batman. He is. Big up Terry McGuinness, my boy. Beyond the Batverse, that's what we need. But yeah, man, honestly, it's mad. Oh yeah, I need you guys to check out the Sunday roast tomorrow as well. Before I forget to mention that, I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be on there a lot, to be fair. So if you guys aren't subscribed to it already, you should do that, because you'll see a lot more of me. It should be good. But yeah, I'm ready to go on. Unless you got like a question, anyone's got any questions, I'm more than ready to start the stream. But yeah, so Sleazealot is gallivanting around. Maybe Lord Ali can get him a horse.
I'm completely in control and focused, and every day the message from me to the team is exactly the same, which is we have to deliver. We were elected on a big mandate to deliver change. I'm determined that we're going to do that.
But change what? Like, if anything, you know, you're raking in money like Boris Johnson. You're barely doing anything. You know, from a legislative perspective, there's not much happening. Or change what? What are you trying to deliver? Apart from making pensioners poorer, what fundamentally are you delivering? Starmer, Labour together, so completely incompetent, vindictive. What is making the idiocy? They just hate the left. Honestly, that's all it is. They hate the left. What they want is just to tweak the current system we have. That's about it. You know, this is a party of business. And I don't mean of, of business as in, getting stuff done. A party of big business. One newspaper was saying the government got a 10 billion windfall, but I've not found a source or what's behind. It's because they're going to sell about 10 billion pounds worth of bonds, I think. It's just quantitative easing, as far as I'm aware. I think McGuinness knows more. I don't think they're going to lose in 5 years. I'll be real. I don't think they're going to lose in 5 years. I think in 10 years, they will, but not in 5. I think their majority will get shrunk massively. A lot of these MPs have just come in, about to go out. It's going to be the Abe Simpson thing where he walks into that that club or wherever it was. When he walks in, puts his hat down, walks back out with his hat. It's going to be that. The party of capital. Yeah, Das Kapital, exactly. Or shall I say, Dis Capital? Because, yeah, it's a Sleazealot. Let's be real. He went from Captain Hindsight to Sleazealot. That's going to be my official name for him. It's awful. It's awful news.
I'm really pleased that in 11 weeks we've already done so many things. We've already taken the action to, for example, settle the strikes in our
Okay, the pay increases. Fair, okay.
hospitals. So doctors are now back in the theatre.
Sorry if the video's quiet. I can't do much about it. It's Max.
Carrying out operations. Vital if we're going to get those waiting lists out. We've already set up the new housing framework so we can start building our houses. We've already set up Great British Energy.
See, this is a lie because the legislation for Great British Energy hasn't even been passed yet, so that's not true.
Reduce our energy bills for good. We've set up a national wealth fund.
That's just a redone kind of version of what the Tories had, so again, this is not really true either.
So many things that we've done, and that's where my focus is. That's where the focus of the whole team is. And actually,
the focus of the whole team is why are we not getting paid as much as Sue Gray is? You got this from Koonsberg saying Labour insiders are frustrated at Starmer's breathtaking wardrobe row, saying these are not descriptions of the Prime Minister's behaviour that Labour want to hear on any week, but especially not as thousands of members and MPs pack their bags for the party conference in Liverpool. For the first time in 15 years, senior figures will make speeches as government ministers, not as opposition members. The Prime Minister's defence for all of this stuff has been it was all within the rules, but what is allowed and what the public approves of is not the same thing. Boris Johnson argued all the parties he had were within the rules. One disappointing party source tells me it's breathtaking that less than 3 months after a stunning election victory, they, number 10, have allowed it to be the story. Now, you have stories around the Prime Minister, the Chancellor and the Deputy PM would no longer accept free clothes. That in itself is a tacit admission that they got it wrong. Ministers publicly described the fuss over frocks and football tickets as a distraction, a word politicians like to use when they're describing something they know is embarrassing and find hard to explain. We'll be discussing that later. And, as Koonsberg talks about, it's good to see that, serious journalism has returned in terms of perception matters. I did want to address somebody very quickly, which is, this person here who's very annoyed that, Starmer's actually being held accountable, saying Starmer's faced more intensive media scrutiny in 2 months than the entire Conservative Party ever faced in their 14 years in power. It's hatchet job after hatchet job. Objectively speaking, the sheer volume and scale of this is insane. I was there, documenting it all. The last lot has sometimes had 3 scandals in a day. Well, that's alright then, as long as the new boss isn't as bad as the old boss, it's fine, right? It's fine, right? I just don't get these. Some of these people are like, get Labour in, they'll be different. They'll give us policies that we actually want, etc. And we'll push them more to the left. And now it's at least they're not as bad as the Tories. It's crazy, no? The Prime Minister will no longer accept donations to pay for clothes. So Starmer, Deputy Prime Minister Rayner and Chancellor Rachel Reeves will not accept any further donations for clothing after a row over gifts, a Downing Street source has said. The Prime Minister faced growing criticism after it emerged he had received more than £16,000 for work clothing and spectacles for him and further donations for his wife from Labour peer Wahid Ali. And again, this is a person who makes over £100,000 a year, doesn't have to pay any rent or a mortgage, at his current residency. What's he doing? It's crazy. This argument of, it's in the rules. It's like, that doesn't make it right, though. This is morally wrong. This again, it's the Boris Johnson defence. This is the defence at Nuremberg. It's within the rules. Their defence was we were just taking orders. But this idea of it's just within the rules, this is what Boris Johnson argued constantly. And these same people who are mad at Boris Johnson are not getting mad at Starmer. The Prime Minister has insisted he's in complete control. It has emerged that the Chief of Staff, Sue Gray, received a pay rise, which means she now has a higher salary than him. And again, I don't have an issue. Stockholm donations, they are paying for access to truth. Bribes. These are bribes. And I'll be getting to that actually soon about the Premier League. The story briefed to the BBC by a number of sources painted a picture of a fractious relationship at the heart of government less than 3 months in. Challenged by BBC's political editor Charlotte Wright on a spate of off the record briefings about Miss Gray, the Prime Minister said, the stuff we had before. I'm focused, and we were elected on a big mandate of a change. Blah 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 blah. But you have a lot of people who are frustrated that they think Sue Gray's getting paid a lot more than they are, and they want more money, and that's what's hampering the government. Oh, no, it's not hampering the government. It's one of the major problems. Rayner appears to have breached parliamentary rules by failing to disclose bringing her friend on a New York holiday funded by Lord Ali. She didn't disclose that Sam Tarry, former MP Sam Tarry, benefited from a £2 million flat. So she's exempt, as Ali didn't know. What that means, I have no idea. Rayner must, the CCHQ, this is the Conservatives. But I just. It's baffling to me. What the hell is going on? Like, Rayner, the so-called working class hero, what the hell's going on? Is Sam Tarry her ex? I thought they were still dating. Let's have a look. Oh no, apparently I'm wrong. Yeah, Rayner ends relationship with Sam Tarry. I thought that was still... shows you how much I actually pay attention to some of this stuff. So, but yeah, he benefited from this. It's a good correction there, Ruben. She didn't disclose that Tarry benefited from her £2 million flat. Says she's exempt, as Lord Ali didn't know. What the hell this means, I have no idea. But why is she staying at this brother's house again? Lord Ali, once again. We're only 11 weeks in. We have already a cabinet minister's briefing again, briefing that the government is a complete circus. This is the second time in as many weeks we've had cabinet ministers briefing against the government over things like winter fuel allowance. This is another thing. It's crazy. This is crazy. This is very similar to Boris Johnson's government. Starmer pledges to clean up politics and crack down on cronyism. And then we find out Labour received £4 million, its largest ever donation, from a tax haven based hedge fund with shares in oil and weapons. Hi folks, just been listening to a certain person who describes the Tories as politically corrupt and Labour as politically... Oh, fuck off. Oh, fuck off. I don't... Oh... You're kidding me. You're actually joking. You're actually joking. You're actually... Nah, I'm not... Oh. Can you get me a timestamp? I know who you're talking about. Can you get me a timestamp, please? We'll do it live. Ruth, can you get me a timestamp? I'm not scrubbing through stream, but yeah. Fuck my life. Honestly, it's just mad. It's crazy. Sorry guys, is my connection back on now? It's annoying. Everyone else must be running Ethernets. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It's just tomorrow. It's fine. It's fine most of the time. It's just for streaming. I think it's not the best. It says I'm back on now, so I'm back. I want to take it as a yes. It says stream connection excellent, so we'll go with that. For some reason it's not connected back to chat on my PC. I don't know why. I'm just gonna have to read your comments off my phone. But yeah, no, I genuinely just it's baffling. If you can get me a timestamp on that, if not, I'm gonna have a look at it later because that is wild. That is a wild statement. The Tories are corrupt, but that's what I'm telling you. It's a massive double standard. It's my team. It's literally my team versus the enemy team. I just, and And that's what I mean. Like these guys, they pollute the well of political discourse. It's not right. It's honestly, it's so disingenuous, guys. I mean, look at the fact that they don't even cover stuff like this. Labour receiving a £4 million donation from a tax haven. From a tax haven, a hedge fund that has sales that makes money off oil, destroying the climate, and weapons that kill people. Excuse me. It's wild, and we go to the Premier League stuff.
They say it's all above board because there's no conflict of interest. Is that definitely true? Keir Starmer's big obsession in life is football. £35,000 of the ticket are football ticket, mostly from football companies. But this government has a massive decision, complicated technical decision about rewiring the football industry with this new football regulator. It's causing all sorts of upset all around the place. It's dividing fans and clubs. Keir Starmer's in charge of that. Exactly. That was the story from the Sunday Times at the weekend. And Keir Starmer's in charge of that decision. And here he is being lobbied by the football industry. Why else would they buy? Do you actually think that the Premier League is giving Keir Starmer free ticket out of the kindness of their heart because they happen to know that he likes football? Or, as one person put it, you come to half-time and, they're there with the briefing sheets telling them, what they think about an issue. That's the issue. And the question is, as Prime Minister, will he forego things like football tickets from football firms with his government to make...
He's not going to forego the football tickets from football firms. He's still taking the money.
...decisions about the future of football, or is he stubbornly, as he did earlier this week, to insist that would go too far in terms of curtailing one of his favourite activities?
This is a guy who talked about being politics are being about service. This guy kept saying politics about service. He's serving his own interests. That's all he's doing. Because he's using this situation to get himself, maybe he could pay with his salary, yeah. At the end of the day, he's benefiting massively. He pays the same amount, I think, for his ticket, and now he gets a hospitality box. He's loving it. It's ridiculous to frame it any other way. And this is the prize here. The government reintroduces football regulator bill. So you can see here, 17th of July, this is post-election, a bill to establish an independent regulator has been reintroduced by the government. The Football Governance Bill, initially introduced in March 24, failed to pass through Parliament before the election. The Labour government reintroduced the bill during the King's speech. This is the prize for the football companies. Maybe, if Starmer is as smart as people keep claiming to be, right? He's some sort of genius politician that, that the gang keep claiming he is. Maybe he reintroduced this bill so he can get more money from bribes. It's football first, football first, donor second, isn't it? When we look at the amount he's raked in.
Well, Westminster Accounts is a major collaboration between Sky News and partners Tortoise Media, and it tracks how money flows through our political system, and it's now been overhauled for the new political era and the new government. And this man is at the helm, and he's been promising he's different to his
Whoever put this picture up here, this one is nasty work. I respect it.
Predecessors. Now, he must...
Harry John Sunak attended Southampton matches and simply had seats in the stand, mixing... Yeah, I think Sunak was sat with the executive there, but, he didn't need a hospitality box. People said the UK teams will get kicked out the World Cup and other events, yeah, if they introduce a regulator, yeah.
Declare everything he receives...
But that's what I mean, why put this bill in then if you know that's going to happen? If FIFA have openly said this, why would you reintroduce this bill?
And he's received a lot. Look at this. £107,000. In fact, even more than that. That's the total gifts and hospitality he has registered since the start of the last Parliament. Holidays, theatre, music, football tickets, hotel stays, all within the rules, Downing Street says. But now look at this.
100K.
Spreadsheets. Compared to every other current MP, Keir Starmer comes top...
Now, before the Labour goons get to me, Boris Johnson accepted way more money. We know this to be true. It doesn't make what Starmer's done any less bad, though. They're not, using Boris Johnson as a defence doesn't work, especially when you went years saying Boris Johnson's the worst Prime Minister we've ever had.
For the charts, he has accepted more freebies by far than anyone else. 2.5 times more than the second highest claimer of freebies. Now,
so when you look at this, right, Starmer's got the most. I don't think cabinet ministers have to announce it. And so that's why you're not seeing cabinet ministers here. Cabinet ministers, the PM, don't have to announce it. So that's one of the big things. But when you look at this, right, when you look at this, you've got Sir Keir Starmer here, £107,000. You've got Lucy Powell, education, shadow education, interesting. And then you got Greg Smith, Karen Bradley even, not Karen Brady, Sir John Whittingdale, Dame Caroline something, Jonathan Reynolds, who is a Labour frontbencher, Ed Davey, leader of the Lib Dems, Navundu Mishra, and Caroline Noakes. Caroline Noakes is quite surprising, actually. But you notice none of these are frontbenchers. None of these are former cabinet ministers. It's because they don't have to announce it. It's very stupid, our system. Looking at this list, Bojo on the list, yes, because this is current MPs, and obviously Boris Johnson is a former MP. Mate, don't worry, I've got O'Brien.
What this table here is the top 10 MPs who've accepted the most in gifts, excluding legal fees. Now, you might remember in his election victory speech, Keir Starmer promised a government of service. And it's true, he accepted most of these gifts during Labour's preparation for power, nearly £87,000 in the last Parliament. But he has accepted over £20,000 since the election as well. And he's made it clear he thinks the freebies can continue. Now, of course, people have been giving gifts for a reason. Specifically, these people. This is who has given the most gifts and hospitality to Keir Starmer. Wealthy donors.
Robert Jenrick accepted a huge amount from an unknown source. He's a Tory leadership candidate as well.
Sports firms, music companies, media giants. And the list is topped by this man, Wahid Ali, the media and retail entrepreneur, also a Labour peer.
Also, do we even know this is all Wahid Ali's money? We don't even know if he's getting this money from elsewhere as well.
Who gave clothing and glasses and unspecified accommodation pre-election, and controversially received a pass to Downing Street in the early
What we really don't want is another Lord Brown envelope situation.
days of the Labour government. And his government giving doesn't stop there. He's also given clothing to Keir Starmer's wife, Victoria, which Number 10 didn't immediately declare. Now, Starmer's allies tell me that Wahid Ali's relationship with Keir Starmer's Chief of Staff, Sue Gray, is key to his importance at the moment. Now, this was, Keir Starmer said, a swift campaign stop. And it was an expensive one too. Tickets to Taylor Swift at Wembley, gifted to him and worth £4,000. Now, look at this. The source of those tickets are one of the Prime Minister's top donors of freebies, the Premier League. They've given over...
So this is what I mean, guys. The Premier League, the top donors.
£12,500 worth of tickets. You can see over here what they're for. They're to Taylor Swift and to a lot of football, including the Euros finals. Football. These are the far from the only football games the Prime Minister has accepted freebies to see. Look at the total. Keir Starmer has accepted over £35,000 worth of football tickets alone since the 2019 election. Some in government worry that there are big decisions on a football regulator being made, and that could mean this is a conflict of interest if he keeps going accepting these types of gift. One official in government, a civil servant, told me Sue Gray should be putting a stop to this. But the Prime Minister's not rowing back. In fact, he told journalists this week, if I don't accept a gift of hospitality, I can't go to a game. You could say, well, that's bad luck. That's why gifts have to be registered. But, never going to an Arsenal game again because I can't accept hospitality is pushing it a bit far.
I mean, this is wild. This is, again, acting as if he has to go to Arsenal game or he's going to die. I'm just mad. I'm just so lost.
I mean, at the same time, some Labour folk are telling me, asking the question, why can't he pay for the tickets himself? Now, I've learned that Keir Starmer was warned in opposition that his openness to freebies could become a problem. And he did not listen. Now, some of his biggest supporters are beginning to worry. Demands for a tighter political grip in number 10 are now common across the party. All sorts of people are saying this to me, revealing more frustrations at his Chief of Staff, Sue Gray, who we now, as of today, believe is paid more than the Prime Minister himself. And that, Sophie, is not the backdrop the Prime Minister wants just ahead of his first conference in government.
So you can see who the donors are. You can see, like, you know, Starmer saying he's not going to stop going to these games, etc. Like, so much for the politics of service. So all this kind of stuff. Like, the only politics, you know, the only real thing he's serving is himself. It's politics of self-service, really. Hey, that's a good one. I'm going to take that one. You guys should. Not the politics of self. Don't know if anyone's sold that yet, but I'm taking that. That's mine now. You've heard it first here. That's patent pending on that one. The politics of self-service. You know, kind of as you mentioned earlier, you know, Sue Gray being paid, you know, an enormous amount, and you've got here Ben Bradshaw MP saying the story here is not the pay, it's the briefing. It's coming from disgruntled special advisors. Keir needs to sort them out and their ministerial bosses out. Plenty of people taking pay cuts to work in government. It's a privilege to serve. So the problem isn't the amount she's earning. The problem is the briefings. It's like, no, it's not. It's the amount. Like, the fact is, you've offered your chief of staff a huge pay rise, despite the fact that you keep talking about how there's no money. Is crazy to me. You know, we've got more. You know, this is an evergreen. This is genuinely an evergreen. An evergreen video. You know, you got with a lust for freebies and hobbled by inviting Labour look like the Tories 2.0, and this has happened so fast, guys, so fast. Boris Johnson had a longer honeymoon period than this. You know, this lot have crumbled. Oh wow, we've almost got 30 people in the stream. Crazy. This is crazy. Like this just. It hurts more than anything to see this, and to see people kind of twist themselves into defending, you know, Starmer and the Labour Party. It's sad, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, you got these people here who, some of these people I had respect for, some of these people I watched a lot before I started my own YouTube journey, and whilst I was on my YouTube channel, and you just look at me, you're thinking, what are you doing? You know, I need to get this really as a thing. Why is my keyboard suddenly not working? Oh, I was trying to find a YouTube short of Chris Hansen saying, "What do you think you're doing?" But I couldn't find one. Oops. But yeah, it's pretty much that. It's, what do you think you're doing? Like, with this, crazy. Yeah, but we'll take nearly 30 viewers. We'll take that.
You can all see the Tories are toast, thank goodness. But we deserve better than a Labour Party that is offering more of the same. Angela says that Keir has changed the Labour Party, and she's right. He's changed them into the Conservatives. Frankly, our children... You can all see the Tories are toast, thank goodness. But we deserve better than a Labour Party that is offering more of the same. Angela says that Keir has changed the Labour Party, and she's right. He's changed them into the Conservatives. Frankly, our children... You can all see the Tories are...
So yeah, sorry, I played that about 3-4 times there. But point is, we can all see... No, let's play it again.
You can all see the Tories are toast, thank goodness. But we deserve better than a Labour Party that is offering more of the same. Angela says that Keir has changed the Labour Party, and she's right. He's changed them into the Conservatives.
Big sneeze, sorry about that. And she's right, yeah, this is one you can replay all the time. Yeah, that's true, we know who he's working... Oops, what was that? It just clipped. We do know who he's working for, to be fair. You're not wrong. That's the only benefit of having that registry. You know, we know now that they're not going to accept any more clothing, which is okay, that's great. And then you've got this.
Great British Energy already up and running and making decisions.
So we're making... The legislation for Great British Energy hasn't been passed yet.
You got here a takeaway leaflet contains more detail than the GB Energy bill. So again, we still don't know if GB Energy is an investment firm or investment vehicle, sorry, or is it an energy company that's going to own assets. We still don't know, guys. This is it's just exhausting. You know, you got the essentially Rachel is requesting for the Bank of England to sell another £10 billion worth of bonds, and according to No Justice, that's enough to give back the winter fuel payments and to lift the 2-child cap and nationalise Royal Mail. And you know, I replied to it for a tax cut because that's what's most likely what they would do with the money. They'd use it as for a tax cut. Maybe it's never going to exist. The possibilities are endless. And what's happening with the workers' rights bill drags on. I don't even know. I don't even know what's going on with that. You know, you've got the situation where the government will not rest until we have driven down child poverty in every part of the country by working with local leaders, etc. But, you know, it doesn't mean they're going to get rid of the 2-child cap. So I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. You know, you got this kind of debate. I don't know how serious some of these debate panels are, but I think Emily Matlis here, it's not great.
Equation to be doing. But why, if somebody's donating to the party, I guess you would argue, can I not spend it on the outfit that my wife has to wear to be paraded around at my side?
I saw a comment from a right-wing commentator, today...
Look, guys, it might surprise you, but I am a dude, right? And I know women's clothing can be expensive. But you would think people who earn nearly, £200,000 a year can afford decent clothing. I could be wrong, right? And it's the most single dude you'll ever meet, but women's clothing can't be that expensive.
Which I absolutely agree with. And I don't... which is this, that maybe there should be more support given to the Prime Minister, and particularly the wife of the Prime Minister or husband of the Prime Minister, because they are very much public figures. They are on display at various different events, and the level of support that exists, and it goes back, you know, years and years and years. Now, fine, if you kind of, you know, very, very wealthy, like Rishi Sunak was, that, you know, there is no need to worry about money.
How broke are these people? Like, how much are you spending on clothes per month? How many outfits do you actually need? I don't get it.
Designer. Sort of easier for Sam Cam.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're just an ordinary person and you feel you can't just go out in the same frumpy outfit or whatever it happens to be...
So how many fits do you need? Like, I don't... What do you mean, like, the same frumpy outfit? Like, who cares? Who cares? Maybe you wear the same frumpy outfit every day and then everyone's like, oh, how come they're wearing the same clothes? It's like they can't afford more. Maybe we've got to increase salary at that point. But again, like, how many suits do you need? Like... What, you don't even need 5 at a push? 1 for every day? 7 at a push? What?
That you've worn at 6 previous occasions, then maybe there just does need to be something. I've always thought it was ludicrous about, you know, the complaints that were made about private jets. Now, the Prime Minister, of course, they're going to fly on private jets. I mean,
so
you know,
I remember the first conference after David Cameron won the election. It was really interesting because Samantha Cameron appeared at his side on the stage, and she wore an amazing dress. You know, she always looks amazing. And people did the whole Google, oh, where's this from? Where's it from? Oh, wow, it's from Marks and Spencer. And she was sort of credited with having, you know, ordinary taste and high street taste and, you know, sort of good old English Marks and Spencer. And then somebody sort of went a bit further and was like, oh, actually, she had that, like, fitted. Right, so what you would then spend on the tailoring of an ordinary high street dress.
How much does it cost for a tailor? Like that, you know, you can go to a shop and get stuff fitted, altered. It's not that expensive. You know, we're not talking hundreds of pounds here. I just, which tailor are you going to? Honestly, what is going on here? Go to Bond Street, check out the price of women's outfits, 3 to 5k, and yes, women required to have loads of outfits. Don't shop at Bond Street then. Don't shop at Bond Street. It's not hard. You're telling me they can't go elsewhere? And yes, women are required to have loads of outfits. Required by who? Because I can tell you now, dudes don't care. So unless they're required by other women to dress a certain way, no, like, dudes generally don't care. Like, you see that gave his resignation speech in the rain. No one was talking about his wife. They made some memes about her because she looks like the Grim Reaper. You know, they kept saying she looks like a ghost who's going to murder him, but no one really cared that much. The same as Samantha Cameron. You know, no one talked about her outfit when David Cameron resigned. They just said she looked sad. You know, like, that was it. Like, Renat, I think that's a really shambolic defence. You know, go into saying, oh yeah, go Bond Street and whatever. You know, if that's the case, then how come all the women that are earning, you know, 25k or less don't look like tramps? Like, honestly.
It's probably 3 times, you know, what you'd actually spend on an outfit, kind of thing. So it was an act, even then, to try and be normal, appear very normal, but obviously, you know, you kind of
This argument that they need this money is ludicrous, I'm afraid.
want to look right on stage.
Of course you do, and I just think so. I think that Keir Starmer's made a mistake here. I just can't see any other way of describing it. It just looks and sounds terrible. At a time
Starting from where? So don't.
What's no defence? It's just sad. So are you telling me, right? You own multiple outfits that cost between £3,000 and £5,000. Are you telling me this honestly? Like, really? Well, I'm just honestly, as a person who actually works in the office, I can tell you those people will not be able to afford, you know, to spend £3,000 to £5,000 on an outfit, and they still look professional. You know, like, it's just no. Like, sorry, that's a ridiculous reply. You know, maybe they'll get a negative Daily Mail headline. That's about it.
This is what I'm going to say to you now. So you don't take the Arsenal box, right?
you don't take stuff which makes you look like you are exceptional. I think the clothes are the thing. I think that you get people.
What about borrowing? He borrowed the.
No, I certainly do not. But have in the past come across these people. What? Doesn't. I'm sorry, G. I need you to come up with something coherent.
The donor's flat, right? The guy owns, I think I read, an £18 million penthouse. Nice little corner of London,
gaff.
probably. Nice little gaff. Are you allowed to have your meetings in somebody else's penthouse?
Again, why do you need? You have do you not have an office in London? You can have meetings. You have Zoom. What are you doing?
No, it's just no. Don't do it. Don't do it. It makes you look like you're in hock to the it looks like you are being bought by somebody who's very wealthy.
I mean, all the political parties
well,
are.
then I think it's...
That's not okay. That's not okay. You can't say, well, everyone looks corrupt, so it's fine. That's stupid. Then you're falling into the trap of they're all as bad as each other, and all you do is create apathy at that point.
It stinks, and I think that is.
But that's how political parties run.
But
that's
if you are Keir Starmer and you've said people are sick and tired of the old politics, of these people with their noses in the trough, etc., 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 then I'm sorry, it's incumbent upon you to behave.
This is mad. John Sopel, right, is making more coherent points than Emily Matlis. What is going on in the world? Normally she's the one with the good takes and he's the one with the dumb ones. This is just the world getting flipped upside down.
Differently, taking freebie clothes doesn't wash. I'm afraid that, the people...
So then you're saying, the Conservatives can have, Frank Hester or whatever,
No, I think that...
I don't think Frank Hester was buying clothes for Boris Johnson. Do you remember when we had that donor who was buying food for Boris Johnson? Everyone called it out. This is that level of corruption. This is not direction. This is not a donation to a party. This is a donation to a person. You're buying off that person.
Lending lots of money to them.
I think that was horrible as well. I mean, we made clear, but I think it applies even more. If you're trying, if you've made an example of the Tories in the way that Keir Starmer has, then to be seen to be doing this and taking freebie clothes and designer thises and designer that's, it's not a good look. That's all I'm saying. It's within the rules, and the rules may need to change. It is not a good...
He's absolutely cooked her in this argument. I do not get what Matlis is on this one. Prime Minister saying it would cost a fortune if he didn't accept the free Arsenal tickets. Here's the thing. Just don't go. Just don't go. I don't care you're a lifelong Arsenal fan. Don't go. If you talk about the politics of service, cool. Don't go. Because that's what you kept talking about, putting the country first. If you're in the politics of self-service, you carry on, G. And I hope the scrutiny gets worse. This is more on the Sue Gray stuff. So I'll move this over here somewhere. Where is it? Let's have a listen to this.
In absolute terms about Sue Gray's pay. Lots of people will argue over whether politicians and their advisors are paid enough. Certainly it seems plausible that Sue Gray could command a much higher salary in the private sector or indeed in parts of the public sector. But what has sparked such fury, and I use that word advisedly, among her very colleagues in government is that many of them, her fellow special advisors, for months had been angry that they believed they were being made to take pay cuts compared to their Conservative predecessors and to their own salaries working for the Labour Party in opposition. And now...
So much again for the politics of service. I get people need to live and whatever. Central London's quite expensive. But, if you're earning considerable amounts of money, I don't get why you'd be so mad. And if you do think you can make more money in the private sector, then go.
Of our story, they've discovered that there's at least.
But then again, actually, they make the argument that we need to pay politicians more in order to get the best politicians. Surely you can make that same logic for special advisors. Surely.
Advisor for whom that's not the case, who's getting a pay rise, and that is the advisor at the top of the tree. Remember, this is the Labour Party. People on the left don't.
Yeah, exactly. It's about access to power. It's literally just that, and that's what they've got. They've got, this is a guy. They're chilling at his house or whatever. The question is this all Lord Ali's money, or is someone putting money forward as well in order to buy the ear of the Prime Minister and his top team?
That sort of thing. And in terms of reaction, my phone is still lighting up this morning at this very early hour from people at the top of government who are outraged about this.
Well, what are they outraged by, though? Yeah, and I'm also just thinking about people at home and whether they can engage with this. I accept the point about those around and the ethos of the Labour Party and those on the left, but do you think this cuts across to the electorate, and what are you hearing in terms of outrage?
Well, it may well not cut across to the electorate, and I'm sure not many people's hearts bleed for sort of pay dispute at the top.
I don't think people will care that much about the Spads being mad about this. They might be mad that she's making so much money.
Of government. In terms of what her colleagues are outraged by, for example, this message I received this morning from a senior Labour figure saying people are flabbergasted by the feeling of hypocrisy. I think the read across there in terms of government is, and I'm sorry if this sounds a bit meta, but it's about, hang on, the fact that this story exists, the fact that someone took a considerable risk to tip Chris Mason off, and then the pair of us were able to find others to corroborate this story, is a sign of pretty corrosive tensions at the top of government, at the heart of government, in a government which is barely 2.5 months into its life.
It just stinks, honestly. Covered that. We'll do some miscellaneous topics as well, just to clear some of these. Labour's trying to be like the Conservatives. Yeah, that's what Thingy mentioned. What's her name? Carla Denyer said as well. Ruth, if you got that timestamp, please feel free to drop it. If not, I'm going to have to scrub through bro's chat. And this is it,
We did it! And now it has arrived. Change begins now. I have to be honest. 4.5 years of work changing the party. This is what it is for. A changed Labour Party.
Box at the office. Box at the Arsenal Stadium.
Ready to serve our country, ready to restore Britain to the...
No, they don't feel shame, honestly. This is what they see their job as, is they push certain political ideals. That's it. They don't, whatever fits into their worldview, they push. For the most part, they will call out Labour on occasion if they see something completely outlandish or something they really feel like they have to push back on. But it's just shambles.
Service of working people. People will be waking up to the news, relieved that a weight has been lifted, a burden finally removed from the shoulders of this great nation. And now,
I don't have a match. I think it was at the time, maybe just past the halfway mark. All right, no worries. I'll 2x speed it.
you can look forward, walk into the morning, the sunlight.
It's pre-recorded, bro. It's pre-recorded. I'm on with Liz Webster and Alex. Yeah, nah, it's good. It's good. I'm not just saying that just because I'm on there. Whenever I'm on a show, it's always good. But yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm happy with it. So yeah, if you guys could give it a watch, and let me know what you think, because it is a bit daunting. Because being on camera is always a bit tricky, and I think I'm a lot more fidgety now than I was a couple of years ago, which I'm not sure why that's the case. But yeah, no, please watch it tomorrow. I'd be very, very grateful. In the words of Pep Guardiola, I'd be so happy. So happy.
Hope. Pale at first, but getting stronger through the day. Shining once again on a country with the opportunity after 14 years to get its future back.
Madness. You know, on late shift tomorrow. No worries. No worries. They get freebies and yet children, you know, 2-child cap, but don't worry, he can go watch the Arsenal. Angela Rayner refused to give details of donations from Wahid Ali. The UK's Deputy Prime Minister is one of the 7 cabinet ministers who received donations and gifts from here before the election. Again, you're giving the Conservatives the moral high ground here to an extent, and this is the kicker for me. This is the part with the pipe man. What's up?
Greatest friend of the truly corrupt politician, the greatest friend of the riot inciters. For example, the greatest friend of them is the line, they're all as bad as each other, because they're really not, which is how today we find ourselves bombarded with coverage of Keir Starmer's declared hospitality, and we are supposed to be much angrier than we were about Boris Johnson's undeclared largesse. One example of it.
Beautiful straw man, James. That must be the private school education. Tier 1 gaslighting. No, we can be angry at both. We should be more angry at the stuff that Boris Johnson did regarding donations. 100%. But we should be even more... Well, no, sorry. We should be almost as angry at the stuff with Keir Starmer, especially when he said he was the guy who said he would deliver Brexit. And sorry, wrong guy. He was the guy who said he would clean up politics. When you claim you're the monster hunter, and it turns out you're one of the monsters, I guess people have more of a right to be angry at you, because he said he would go in there and clean it up, just like when Trump said he would go in there and drain the swamp, and he didn't drain the swamp. He made it worse. You know, this argument that he's making here, rabid straw man, saying, they're not as bad, people keep claiming they're all as bad as each other, and because Boris Johnson is worse than Keir Starmer, therefore it kind of invalidates the anger we feel towards Starmer. Complete and utter drivel. This is malarkey.
His flat decoration exceeded the sum total of everything Keir Starmer has received since becoming leader of the Labour Party. Great.
And that's what I mean, Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, the 2 greatest gifts the Conservative Party ever gave to Labour. The 2 greatest gifts, because they're infinitely more corrupt, but it doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it okay. Colin from Portsmouth phoning in, James O'Brien. Who's in the lead in the polls? It's Labour, but not by much. It's much lower than it was. We just need to wait and see. Yeah, we've got this. Let's move this over here. Critics of Sue Gray expect her to quit as Starmer's chief of staff at the conference. That coming from Bloomberg. So we'll see what happens with that. But there's more here, just this. Was it... Oh, have I skipped anything? There was actually... This is in the wrong order. It should be over here. So we've got stuff from... what's her name? What's her name? Lisa Nandy, that's it.
So let's just clear up the freebies issue, shall we? Because yesterday the Prime Minister said that he wouldn't take any more free clothes, neither would Angela Rayner or Rachel Reeves, who also said that they'd accepted some too.
I think this lot have been so Brexit pilled by O'Brien doesn't even think he's straw manning. Whoops. Brexit man, and Brexit was so uniquely awful that everything must. Yes, this is it. This is what I've been saying for a while. And so basically, because he was right about Brexit, he must be right about everything else. Because for these people, politics started in 2016.
Were they wrong to take them in the first place?
Look, all MPs take gifts and donations in kind. That's the system that we have in the UK. The important thing is that we're really transparent about the way in which that happens so that people can judge for themselves, make their own decisions.
The thing is, we can't judge for ourselves because we don't know what's in your heart. That's the problem. If Starmer turns around and stops the regulator they're talking about for bringing in football, right? If he weakens that regulator, right? We don't know if he genuinely thought that was the right thing to do, or if he's doing it because he's taking donor money, because it clouds everything. We don't know if you're making actions based on your conscience, based on the facts of the situation, or based on the fact that you're on the take from these groups, these interest groups. We don't know. You know, this is a guy who talked about nationalising energy and things like that. Now we know he's taken money. Now we know he's taken money from a hedge fund that makes money from oil and gas, that makes money from weapons. So now, when you're not suspending licenses to Israel, are you doing it because people are making money from it? When you're not, looking at nationalising the energy companies like you said you would, are you doing it because you don't think it's economically feasible, or you doing it because certain groups make money from these companies, and you want their donations? Money clouds everything, absolutely everything, because the question will always be, when you make a decision, did you go far enough? And if the answer is no, why didn't you go far enough? When you've got these former water lobbyists and execs within the Labour Party, are these going to be the people who are pushing for water to be nationalised, or are they going to be pushing against it, saying it costs too much, it's not fair on the taxpayer, the system can be reformed? When they make these arguments, or are they going to remember all the years that they were making money from being execs within the privatised water system, and they want to keep that system going? Maybe they're not an MP in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time. They go back to their cushy job. This is what I mean. Money clouds everything, and that's what these politicians fail to understand. Whoops.
About whether those gifts are appropriate, and most importantly understand the relationships that exist, so that they can see whether there's been any improper or undue influence. And in all of these cases, I don't think there's been any suggestion that there was improper or undue influence, and that's why we declare these things openly and transparently, so that people can judge for themselves whether they think that is the correct decision or not.
So if nothing was done wrong, why then have they come out and said that they're not going to take freebies in the future? Was it seen to have been a distraction?
Well, we certainly don't want the news and the commentary to be dominated by conversations about...
Well, you don't want the media to run with these headlines. That's why you've dropped it. Is that really? It's not a moral argument. If you think you are morally correct to take these gifts, why not just keep accepting them? The media eventually, they'll move on to something else, because it won't cut through.
Clothes when we have a really positive agenda for this country. But I think that, these have always been very difficult issues in British politics. We rightly have a system, I think, where the taxpayer doesn't fund these things. We don't claim on expenses for them, and so MPs will always take donations.
Or you can just use your fat salary that you're on the top 1% of earners, or so 5% of earners, you can afford this stuff. You telling me everyone that goes to an Arsenal game is a millionaire?
Always take gifts in kind. MPs of all political parties have historically
just complete garbage.
Living very different lives from them. Most people who go into politics of all political parties are ordinary people who want to make people's lives better, and it's important to us that people know that's what we are as a government, and that we have their priorities absolutely up front and centre of ours. You know, the country's priorities are our priorities. So, you know, I totally get what you're saying, but I also think that the most important thing that our government has done is to be open and transparent about what we're doing. And if I
But
could
the
just
tone was wrong.
Well, if I could just challenge one thing,
I mean, the tone wrong.
You know, you said that the Prime Minister had accepted a lot of football tickets, but the truth is that the Prime Minister is a huge football fan. He goes to Arsenal, he talks about it a lot.
Look, you know, you say Boris Johnson spent a lot of money on his flat and the renovations, right? Well, the truth is, you know, Boris Johnson's a huge fan of flat renovations. He's a huge fan of wallpaper. And so, you know, he tells me about it all the time. You know, I don't hear the end of his love of wallpaper. Is that okay? Does that make it okay?
And especially to me nowadays. And he sits in the stands, he always has. He buys his own season ticket and he loves it. And I know him.
And now he has been upgraded to hospitality for security
reasons. Because it would be so disruptive.
Again, like, you know, I'm pretty sure Rishi Sunak sat in the stands. This is nonsense.
For other people, and it'd be so expensive.
The ticket he pays for isn't the value of the ticket he enjoys when he goes to us to watch football, because he's in hospitality.
Yeah, but I know him, and I know he would much rather be in the stands with everybody
But he's accepting hospitality and getting those extra benefits that come with hospitality.
And he declares it all so that people can see, you know...
He declares it because he has to. If you change the system where he doesn't have to declare it, he wouldn't declare it. There's a reason why he declared late.
Who is donating, so that they can judge for themselves whether there's any undue influence or not.
The stream's going to be ending soon, so if you guys want to throw any super chats or anything my way, classic e-begging, let me know, because I'd obviously appreciate that. Memberships are available and things like that, but yeah, you know, I don't have Lord Ali to pay me money so I can buy new clothes.
And I feel really confident as a...
Yes, pretty much. They're not going to accept any more clothing, so, you know, maybe Lord Ali can just donate to them directly and they can just spend the money as they want to. Who knows?
A member of this government, that there isn't, and that's why we're being open and transparent about this, so that people can see when there are donations and gifts, as there always have been for every government.
No, that's all right. You know, despite the fact that, you know, like the main arguments around Boris Johnson wasn't just the fact that he broke the rules around like donations or whatever. It's the fact that he took so many. You know, they haven't done anything yet. This from Jess Phillips, just abysmal.
About your views on the freebies that Keir Starmer's been taking. Are you satisfied with his explanation of why it's been necessary?
Look, I am satisfied with his explanation. If Keir Starmer wasn't doing a good job in our country,
He's not doing a good job. He's barely done anything. Like, apart from the public pay settlements, which I give you, I don't think he's achieved much else, has he? Has he achieved a lot?
Set in train, loads of things to change. Hadn't already passed...
Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate that. Yeah, altruism has a price. Thanks for the super chat, Ruth.
Through the legislation around improving our railways, which I will no doubt fall foul of later today when I try and go home, or hadn't, you know, started the sort of big green investment, hadn't put in...
You started the big green investment, you've barely done anything on that. Like, there's not much happening there.
Train the kind of missions that I am working on and I'm here to talk to you about today. I think I would be more concerned. Look,
you just don't think it's important at all?
I don't think it's important at all. I think you have to consider how people in the country feel about things. I have to say, nobody has mentioned it to me. I haven't had a single email about it.
Maybe check your spam folder.
I have had lots of emails about people not being able to, like, you know, get on a housing list. And so I'd really, really much rather...
Well, you know, again, Labour aren't going to build more council housing, so they're going to continue to struggle to get on a housing list. So you haven't really sorted that one out, have you?
Rather focus on that and for Keir Starmer to focus on getting house building going.
But you're not concerned about how it looks when the government is having to introduce a policy where they scrap winter allowance for millions of pensioners, and he's got freebies in a corporate box at Arsenal.
Of course, I always worry about how everything looks. Those two things are completely separate things. And had he never been to watch the Arsenal, there would still be a £22 billion black hole that had to be paid for. So, like, you know...
No, that's all right then. You know, the fact that the economy's in shambles, you know, but him going to an Arsenal game doesn't change anything. What? Like, how does that even make any sense?
But of course I worry about how things look, and I want people to feel like the government is having to make some very, very difficult decisions. But
one of those difficult decisions is still going to Arsenal games because he doesn't care. Don't blame me. Oh, you know what? That's a banger. Let's play that one.
That's right. Don't blame yourself.
I don't know how you've managed to memorize all of my soundboard. So I respect it. I respect that. I'll give you that. I respect your memory of the soundboard. I'll drop you one more actually. I'll give you this one as well.
I know you understand.
That's Starmer taking. Sorry, I'm getting goofy now. That's Starmer accepting the money and telling the Labour goons to back him.
I know you understand.
Sorry, it's not the most appropriate one, but it's pretty good. I can't lie. I think that one's pretty appropriate. I'm going to use that one in the actual video. We got more here. This gets worse.
If somebody got in touch with you today and offered to buy you some suits and dresses as a minister, would you take their money?
Well, the truth of this, and obviously I think you're alluding to the story regarding the Prime Minister, is that probably somebody turned up to his office and said, I think you need a fancy suit, here's one, and he probably took it. I don't know that he was going out and seeking it. I have to say nobody has offered me any clothes.
That's how it happens? Somebody turned up at his office with a suit? I mean,
Maji here, Adil Ray, it's a fatality.
Thousands of pounds. I mean, that's got to be organised. That's a lot of money.
No, but you'd be surprised how many people are obsessed with the way that politicians look and try and give you...
Moving the goalposts. Nice. Moving from, a staffer offering a suit, saying like, you need to shape up a bit, to this.
Unsolicited advice about what you should and shouldn't wear.
But then in return, we're talking about Lord Wahid Ali, who then got access to Downing Street. Apparently he's got a pass. So isn't that clothes for access, cash for access? Does he not have any access?
I don't think he does have a pass.
What's in it for him then? Why does he want to spend thousands of pounds on somebody's suits?
Because I think he probably wanted a Labour government. He's been a Labour peer.
Did he donate all of this money to Jeremy Corbyn, to Ed Miliband? I don't remember him doing that.
For many, many years. And he wanted to support a Labour government.
Now we have a leader who's the most open to corruption. So maybe it's down to that. Because, I don't remember him donating to Ed Miliband. Did he donate to Gordon Brown as well? To Tony Blair as well, to this degree? Why is it suddenly now that things have changed?
But you'd have to ask him. He desperately wanted a successful Labour government, as did I. And had I had the means to give Keir Starmer something that might have helped, I might have offered that. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Jess Phillips, you tweeted in August 2022 about...
Turns out he did donate. He has financially supported no fewer than 8 centrist leadership candidates, donating to Ed Miliband in 2010, Andy Burnham and Liz Kendall. So clearly he has a track record of supporting certain types of leadership candidates. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why he's supporting them. Wahid Ali saying it's not over till it's over for the fight. This is about his donations to Miliband.
Then the Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
When Labour were in power in Scotland, they built grand sum of 6 social houses. Get lost, 6 social houses. 6. Are you sure 6? There's no way it's 6.
Boris Johnson is busy trying to find a donor to pay his energy bills and can't make the time to govern our country and come up with any plan to help with yours. There are a lot of people out there would want to see Keir Starmer get things right, whether it's the winter fuel allowance, whether it's the issue out in Gaza, whatever it might be going on. But would you say the same thing about him, that he's too busy trying to find a donor to pay for his clothes or his Arsenal tickets?
No, because the difference between Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer is that Keir Starmer is actually governing the country.
He's not, though. He's not done much. That's the problem. This argument is so bizarre to me. This from Sangeeta here saying Keir Starmer and Rayner will no longer accept future clothing donations after backlash. Not quite sure why it's taken days of grueling news cycles to come to this decision, which I think is the right one. So, they've sent out Jess Phillips to defend them, and then you're just like, what was the point? Again, it's very, very Johnsonian, I guess would be the term, because this is what Boris Johnson literally did. He kept doing it. He kept pushing this nonsense. Essentially he'd get embroiled in a scandal, get his whole team to come out and defend him, so they're now embroiled in the scandal, and then he would, he would essentially try and resolve it. That's what he does. I just with this lot, it's the same thing. It's the same playbook. Maybe he learned a lot from Boris Johnson after all. You know, Starmer saying most people would say fair dues about this.
There's a lot of attention on your relationship with Arsenal. Can you clarify what it is?
Yes, very happily. I've had season tickets at Arsenal for a long time now.
Fucking audio mix is shocking.
Stands, where I've gone with my boy and my friends for year after year after year. Now I'm Prime Minister. The security advice is that I can't go into the stands.
So just don't go then.
If I did, you'd have to put so much sort of security in that it would cost the taxpayer a fortune. As a result, I've been offered tickets elsewhere in the ground where it's more secure. We don't have to use taxpayer money on additional security, and that's why I've taken the decision that I have. I think most people watching this would say, well, fair dues. I think they'd think I was pretty self-centred if I said, I'd much prefer to be in the stands, by the way. If I said, I'm going in the stands and you, the taxpayer, are going to have to pick up the tab for the security. I'm not really...
How much security would you even need? Like, it's a modern stadium. What do you think they're going to get in there? Like, unless you think that people are going to bum rush your seat, you know, like, given how much security is at the Emirates as well, how do you think it's going to go? What do you think is going to happen? You know, what's to stop them from rushing your corporate seat? You know, if you're scared of, like, the public, you know, just absolutely going after you. Especially when it didn't happen at Southampton either. Just trying to see if I can find just a picture of Sunak in the stands. I mean, look at this. Here he is, look, with the common people, or at least probably the execs and stuff. Let's be real. But here he is. He's in the stands. Is that a corporate box I see? Is there a glass shield there? Was he afraid people were going to throw like cans of Coke at him or something? You know, and this is the Sunak, the out of touch geezer. This the billionaire. He's in the stands. Where's his security advice? Where's all his goons? You got one guy, one goon potentially. Where's the rest? It doesn't make any sense. Look, he's literally taking selfies in the stand. Oh, this is where it's mad. This is madness to me. No, you got this absolute clown accusing Owen Jones of doing Farage's work for him. If your politics is supposedly left leaning, it's odd you would spend every day for the past 11 weeks undermining a government that's just come to power. And Owen Jones saying, this is a new strategy. Before the election, you criticise Starmer, you're a Tory stooge. After the election, if you criticise Starmer, you're a Farage stooge. It's just the government sucks. He's right. You know, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. You know, you've got this story again. This is kind of the last of it that I'm gonna cover in this live stream. You know, after the original reporting from the Times, you know, like Number 10 confirms that the Prime Minister's wife and Chancellor all accepted clothes from donors. Rayner and Reeves claimed them as support for work duties, not as gifts like the Prime Minister. Support for work duties, new fits for work duties, really? Come on, man. You know, I saw this from Stephanie Kelton as well, which can discuss economics. Her saying if we had a serious press and more courageous economists, this kind of adolescent discussion would not go unchecked. Alas.
As if they think there is some magic money tree, and let me tell you a plain truth: there isn't.
I know there is no extra payment you don't want to add to, no tax you don't want to rise. But the fact is we have to concentrate our resources on the people who need it most. And we have to stop thinking, as you do, that there's a magic money tree.
It's this side of the House that has always been very clear that there is no magic money tree.
There isn't a magic money tree.
There is no such thing as a magic money tree. This is taxpayers' money. There is no government money.
There's no such thing as a magic money tree.
There is no magic money tree.
There's no magic money tree.
There is no magic money tree.
There isn't a magic money tree.
It's not going to be easy. There's not a magic money tree.
All right. And you've got this, you know, literally the government magicking up £10 billion. of money, just like that, because essentially this is money we owe the Bank of England. If you want to hear an actual economist talk about this is what he tweeted out a couple of years ago, saying, "I've just got figures of how much money borrowed by the government since April by issuing IOU notes known as gilts or bonds. Now has the Bank of England as creditor, which creates the money from nothing." Saying, the vast majority of the money that we owe is to the Bank of England. This is his actual take on this, Andy Verity.
At the moment. Now, this isn't like household debt. This isn't like running an overdraft. Just how important is it that we pay this off?
That's a really important point. We've been talking like it is like household debt for a very long time, but when you're a homeowner, what you worry about with debt is what's going to happen if you can't pay.
Yeah, Lord Ali, I've got a friend's wedding I need to go to. Can you get me a new suit, please? I promise I'll be nicer to Labour.
The bailiffs might come round. You might have a repossession, but it's not like that for the government, not least because of who they're borrowing it from. And if you look at that, who do we actually owe this money to? Well, of the money borrowed since the pandemic, actually 92% of it is owed to the Bank of England. Now, that's really ultimately another branch of government. So if you're borrowing from yourself, as you are with government finances, you have a much more patient creditor who's not going to be banging on your door too soon.
So again, like this idea that we don't have a magic money tree is complete garbage. It just depends on what you do with the money. And this is an actual economist talking about this. Mariana...
Simply coming in and then saying...
Oops, that's at 2x speed. That's why I normally listen to stuff at. But yeah.
We need to cut in order to reduce that hole. My view is that potentially that hole only becomes bigger. Why? Because the cost of inaction is greater than the cost of action. In other words, if you're actually cutting areas like the winter fuel tax, that then perhaps even makes the people who are not receiving their winter fuel, and there's lots of pensioners who will not, and they then
she
get
said
sick.
Winter fuel tax. I think she meant allowance. She just misspoke.
And they end up in hospital. There's a cost there. And so any sort of modeling and analysis of whether this was the right thing to do to save, what was it, 1.3 or 1.6 a billion has to be taking a long-run view. And by the way, this is always true, right? Anytime we make a cut, it looks like it's a cut and it looks like there might be a saving, but in so many different instances, we see that actually that ends up costing the economy much more because of what it actually does, again, to the kind of social fabric, to the health and well-being of people. It costs less, to educate a child than to put them in prison. So there's all sorts of different ways in which
you've got to find the money up front to do that. And where are you?
Well, no, because governments aren't households, right? I mean, as a person, you would have to do that, but governments always create money. The question is, are you just creating...
Literally, the governments always create money. Literally this.
What, by borrowing? By borrowing or raising taxes?
Of course. Well, you could do both, but the point is, you don't just want helicopter money and spending for spending's sake. If you're actually spending...
No one's calling for spending's sake, but, as she points out, it's for productivity.
Anything that kind of expands the productive capacity of the economy, but also health and well-being of people, ultimately, that will also increase productivity, it will increase growth.
That's the point. You can spend that money well, and that's what grows the economy. The Scottish Government actually managed it in real terms, money, because as part of the devolved government, we're not allowed to borrow, true? And the final piece that I wanted to discuss, which is Labour bans investigative journalists from party conference. The Labour Party has refused to grant investigative media outlet Declassified UK access to its annual conference. Now, why would you do that unless you've got something to hide? But that's all from me for today. Just a lot of stuff on Labour and the sleaze. I am going to try and break it up a bit, but I don't know what else to really discuss, to be honest with you, because this is, for me, this is the big story. I get like other people want to talk about the Conservatives, or they want to talk about random other groups and whatever, but for me, my focus during the Conservative years was mostly the Conservative Party, because they were the ones in government, and so that was my focus. And now you've got a different party in government, all of a sudden these people are still talking about the former government, and you're just like, what? Why would you do that? But anyways, I'm gonna call it a day. Yeah, that's what I always argue about Scotland. Imagine they had a real budget. Imagine they could actually run a deficit, things like that. That was one of the major points I made. But Yeah, that's one of the things. It's true, it's important. Oh, I think he's got a video on it actually. No Justice. Recommend you guys watch this. Let me post it in chat before I go. I wish I could redirect you guys all to this, but I don't have the expertise to do this. But yeah, looks like she posted a video on this already. I think that's why I saw the original clip actually. But yeah, quite happy with your content tonight, Madge. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's me done. Done for the day. As the guy in one of my favourite games would say, in American Army, Rise of Soldier, when you're about to leave the level, the training area, the guy says, "Done for the day." When you think about it, it sounds so irresponsible from a party who has just come to power, reprehensible in my. I mean, yeah, it's a complete joke. I mean,
I don't want to hear another word. You're a disgrace to the game.
Oops, that's not even the right clip, but yeah, you're a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the game.
Stings, doesn't it?
And then, oops, is there anything else I actually want to mention? Nah, we'll leave it there. So in the immortal words of Tobey Maguire.
See you, chump.
And so yeah, if you guys could go and check out the Sunday roast tomorrow, that would be excellent. I'd really appreciate that. But other than that, that's me done. I'll catch you lot next week. Bye bye.
See you, chump.